Good morning, Trump's family. Welcome back to my channel. Have a nice day, everyone, and God bless you. Thank you for always watching and subscribing to the channel. Alright, let's get into the news. And if teachers' unions aren't not pushing to classify parents as domestic terrorists while they're busy trying to talk to sex about with your kids, that is their main platform now. That's their main goal, not to teach them how to read, not to teach them how to do addition or subtraction, or multiplication or division, or anything like that. Their main goal now is to indoctrinate your children about sexual confusion, and that is their main goal, and it's currently happening here in the state of Florida, after the parental rights bill passed here in the state of Florida, and Governor DeSantis signed it while the teachers' union went hard to work. So let's go and take a look at this. This is coming to us from the Post Millennial. Says teachers' union tells educators to ignore Florida law on not teaching gender identity in schools. That's right. Actively working against the laws passed by the state of Florida, and telling teachers don't obey the new laws on the books. Please continue to talk to sex to young kids. And short from what we know right now, you can continue with the same practices and procedures used last year unless given a directive to do otherwise, the union told teachers. That's right. The Florida Department of Education issued a memo to all school districts in late July explaining that they were not required to comply with the Biden's administration proposal changes to interpretations of Title IX and Title VII. Those changes would require schools to receive federal funding to allow boys and girls access to the opposite sex bathrooms. If they had done it, identify that way. Under Biden, Title VII interpretation funding would be withheld from lunch programs that did not comply. I talked about this a couple of months ago. The local teachers' union, however, backed by the National Education Association, which donated heavily to the Biden campaign, then issued their own contradictory guidance in a memo obtained by deposed Postmillennial, and doing so they indicated that the guidance issued by the Biden administration had actually been enacted as federal law, which it has not been. I'm concerned about the safety of our children in Clay County, said Tina Kyson, Moms a Liberty, to the Post. Post-millennial. I am concerned about the union is providing inaccurate information to teachers that does not align with the guidance set by Manny Diaz, Commissioner of Education. Commissioner of Education, Manny Diaz, said that the guidance from the Biden administration interpret discrimination on base of sex to include discrimination on base of sexual orientation or gender identity, which was done based on Supreme Court ruling which found that an employer cannot tell a biological male employee he could not wear a dress to work, because that would be a discrimination on the basis of sex. The guidance attempts to vastly expand application of Title IX and related issue statutes and regulation, Diaz wrote, and it does. He told schools without consulting Florida agencies that specifically have issued guidance against that expansion. Diaz wanted to make clear to schools that the guidance issued by the federal education and our architectural agencies are not binding law, did not create a new legal obligations, and should not be treated as Dominican law guidance. DSL schools have even been acknowledged by the use of the USDA O2 under this litigation, representing the administration's interpretation of those titles as such discussions. You should not treat the USDA O2 and the USDA guidance documents as binding or otherwise modified your practices and procedures based on the documents. Specifically, he goes on. For example, nothing in these guidance documents requires you to give a biological male who identifies as a female access to female bathroom block rooms or dorms, to assign biological males who identify as female to female rooms on school field trips, or to allow biological males who identify as female to compete in female sports team. He specifies further that schools should not follow the guidance because to do these things would jeopardize the safety and well-being of Florida students and risking violating Florida law. For the same reason, DSRIP should also just regard any suggestions from the FDA CMS that you must comply with those guidances, including any suggestions to post a justice for all posters in your school, as doing so may create a conflict with Florida YOL law. Yet the Clay County Education Association has their own plans as to how to bypass local law and do instead what they interpret. Guidance from the Biden administration suggests that they sent out their own memo to teachers and educators, explain to them they should do as the budget administration recommends, ignore Florida law. The memo, titled Parental Bill of Rights aka Don't Say Gay Bill. The union states that certain politicians are attacking the LGBT and WXYZ students and staff to divide communities and divert attention away from Florida, being near the bottom in a national nation for school funding and educator salaries. But we will not lose focus on making sure that every student feels safe, welcome, respected and loved while in school. That's not what you go to school for. Sorry to say, no matter their race, income, zip code, sexual orientation. Sentence. Together, we will make sure that every student in Florida attends a school that's worthy exam. The law. The unit complaints as a parental rights education was intentionally written to be confusing and vague. School districts have received little to no guidance on how to implement the law. Despite Diaz's guidances, these people are absolutely insane. They want to sit there and they want to continue to go on and just do their own thing. They want to be able to confuse your children. They want to be able to indoctrinate them in an ideology that is not coherent with most households in this country. And doing so overstepping their bounds between the lines that are drawn between teacher and parents, and where teachers' roles are teaching students the basics: math, reading, biology, science, things like that. They've taken it upon themselves to continue to go down this road of sexual education with students, which is wrong. And, alright folks, to the left-wing Twitter mob, the Twittersphere is going absolutely crazy. With all of the reporting, again the same thing we're constantly hearing: Trump is definitely going to jail this time. And based off the most recent updates and most recent support, well, we are hearing that tenfold, maybe 100x. But even the left is so hyped having their little Donald Trump is going to jail circle jerk. I'm following all this and I still don't get it. I don't get what the big deal is with the smoking gun. Is the leftist claiming, I guess, that Donald Trump illegally smuggled classified nuclear documents to Mar-a-Lago? There is literally no mention about nuclear documents in any of the official data that we have. But of course, the mainstream media is reporting it, and so lefties are just running with it. But if you take the left-wing hysteria and the partisanship out of the equation and just look at what's going on here, none of it makes any sense. I still don't see the crime here. What it really boils down to, I guess, in the end, is a dispute over whether or not Donald Trump declassified the information. He claims that he declassified all of the documents. The opposing side is claiming that he has classified documents, but then again, nobody can explain to me why the former president of the United States, he was the president 2 years ago, isn't allowed to have or view classified documents from his own administration. None of it makes any sense. The Obama Library can have tons of classified documents. The University of Delaware has Joe Biden's classified documents. Of course, we know Bill Clinton and George Bush have classified documents, but somehow, of course, what Donald Trump is doing is criminal. Let's get into all of the new information. The left is pretending to have this smoking gun. I'm just not seeing it. We've got some stuff to get into. So let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so here is the official document: United States District Court for the Southern District of Florida. A search and seizure warrant signed off by the Honorable Bruce Reinhart, U.S. Magistrate Judge. It says right here in attachment: a property to be searched. The premises to be searched: 1100 South Ocean Boulevard, Palm Beach, Florida 334. Ad is further described as a resort club and residence located near the intersection of Southern Boulevard and Southern Ocean Boulevard. It is described as a mansion with approximately 58 bedrooms, 33 bathrooms on a 17-acre estate. The location to be searched includes the 45 office, all storage rooms, and all other rooms or areas within the premises used or available to be used by the former President of the United States and his staff, in which boxes or documents could be stored, including all structures or buildings on the estate. It does not include areas currently at the time of the search being occupied, rented, or used by third parties such as Mar-a-Lago members, and not otherwise used or available to be used by former President of the United States and his staff, such as private guest suites. Attachment B: all physical documents and records constituting evidence, contraband, routes of crime, or other illegally possessed in violation. And those three laws are described right over here on the Cornell Law School website. 5019 is the destruction, alteration, or falsification of records and federal investigations, and Bankruptcy Code 793 is gathering, transmitting, or losing defense information. Code 2071 as concealment, removal, or mutilation. Generally, the warrant further stipulates any physical documents with classification markings along with any container/boxes, including any other contents in which such documents are located, as well as any other container/boxes that are collectively stored or found together with the aforementioned documents and container boxes. Information including communications in any form regarding the retrieval, storage, or transmission of national defense information or classified materials. Any government or presidential records created between January 20, 2017 and January 20, 2021, or any evidence of the knowing alteration, destruction or concealment of any government and/or presidential records or of any documents or classification markings. And so what this seems to be is a massive phishing expedition. I mean, just take a look at bullet points. See any government and/or presidential records created between January 20, 2017 all the way to 2021. Essentially, the Warren states take any documents dated throughout Donald Trump's entire presidency, just a blank warrant to confiscate all of Donald Trump's records. Everything. What's the reason behind it? Again, we still don't know. The media is speculating that it has something to do with nuclear documents, but without more information, without the affidavit, there's nothing to suggest anything of the sort. And if we go through the later part of the warrant, it shows the receipt for property, everything that was seized, a grant of clemency for Roger Stone, Info RT, President of France, leather-bound box of documents, classified TSCSI documents, potential presidential records, binder of photos, handwritten note, a bunch of boxes and miscellaneous secret documents, confidential documents and top-secret documents, and the list just continues with boxes and secret documents and top-secret documents. Again, I really don't get what the big deal is here. It has never been illegal for a president to hold on to documents from his administration. Lefties are trying to pretend as if that's the massive bombshell here, that's the crime. But clearly that isn't what the justification for the warrant was. Based on all the laws that I read earlier, was the destruction or concealment of classified documents. There is nothing to suggest that Trump was destroying any documents or altering any documents. In fact, based on Donald Trump's response here, it adds even more confusion as to what the DOJ was thinking. Number 1, it was all declassified. Number 2, they didn't need to seize anything. They could have had it anytime they wanted without playing politics, and it was in a secure storage with an additional lock put on as per their request. Donald Trump's team is now claiming that months ago, after Donald Trump, I believe, was subpoenaed, if I'm not mistaken, where he handed over 15 boxes of documents and records from his administration to the National Archives and Records Administration, he was supposedly told by federal agencies to take the boxes of documents that he had and to secure those documents behind closed doors with multiple locks. That's exactly what he did. Or at least that's what he's claiming he did. And then he goes on further to ask they could have had it any time they wanted, and that includes long ago. All they had to do was ask. The bigger problem is, what are they going to do with the 33 million pages of documents, many of which are classified? The President Obama took Chicago. The whole situation seems utterly ridiculous. We now have reports that the search warrant shows that Donald Trump is under investigation for potential obstruction of justice. The Espionage Act specifically states the use of classified military documents used to attack the United States are handed over to foreign powers. Again, there is literally zero evidence to suggest that Donald Trump has done that. I mean, the claim itself seems utterly ridiculous, as if he has top classified nuclear documents, and he's handing them over to Vladimir Putin. That's essentially what lefties believe right now. But again, there is literally zero evidence to suggest any of that. It seems like one massive phishing expedition to seize all of Donald Trump's records and to just continue to legally harass him and dig into everything related to his administration. This is unprecedented territory. No former president in the history of the United States has ever been treated like this. In fact, Hillary Clinton wasn't even treated like this. Take a look at what James Comey said back in, first think 2017 or 2016. Everyone listen to this. In this case, given the importance of the matter, I think unusual transparency is in order. Although there is evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding the handling of classified information, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. Okay. Quote, although there is evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding the handling of classified information, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. No reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case unless the target was Donald Trump. And again, there's nothing to suggest that Donald Trump violated any statutes regarding to the handling of classified information. According to Donald Trump, everything that he took with him to Mar-a-Lago was declassified. Now, of course, lefties are trying to argue whether or not Donald Trump did the process properly, whether he declassified the documents properly, but it seems pretty cut and dry. To me, Donald Trump, the President of the United States, has the unilateral authority to declassify documents. And for my understanding, even as a former president, based on precedent, has the authority and the right to view and keep documents from his administration, as per what we've seen in the past. This whole thing is fishy, folks. It stinks to the high heavens. And what I just can't seem to wrap my head around is that apparently Donald Trump was storing extremely sensitive nuclear classified documents and information in his house, and it took the FBI a year and a half to act and do something about it. And it just happens to fall right before a midterm election where Democrats were underwater big time, and all of a sudden there's a huge distraction away from Joe Biden, and his poll numbers are going up and Democrat numbers are going up in generic congressional ballot. This whole thing seems utterly ridiculous. The search warrant is vague. It seems like a fishing expedition. The U.S. codes, the laws that backed up the warrant, all seem under the pretense that Donald Trump is destroying documents at Mar-a-Lago. There is zero evidence to suggest that Democrats are claiming that they have this massive smoking gun, but I'm just not seeing it, and it seems like they're peddling in a whole lot of speculation and false information as they farm their social media cloud on Twitter and other platforms, feeding into the very thirsty, very Trump derangement syndrome crowd. Even with all these supposedly bombshells that released, at least for me, and based on my analysis when it comes to the Mar-a-Lago raid, absolutely nothing has changed. I am not seeing a smoking gun. Of course I could be wrong though. Thank you very much. WWG1WGA. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button to watch the next episode. Goodbye.